New round of Tuesday Thoughts here on SDH AM. Thanks for dropping by. John here, you there. Here's the rundown for today. We got a lot of preview stuff to get into. And it is Champions League. It is Open Cup. It is CONCACAF. It is women's national team. There's a lot going on. And so over the next little while, we'll catch you up on all of that stuff. We do have some news to kind of get into this morning to start things off. And it's out of the Premier League. For those of you that missed last night with the Soccer Over There crew, picks of the week are posted in the Discord. And if you are not a part of the Discord and would like to be, just shoot them a note. If you are in Discord, would like to be in the SDH Discord, shoot them a note. You can join the process. You can join the conversations and everything that's there in the Discord. But picks of the week have been posted, and the first one is at noon. So you have a whole 2 hours and 53 minutes to get your first pick in for the remainder of the week. Good morning, David. All right, so getting into just to kind of give you a preview. So we got all the matches in the Open Cup tonight. Jason's going to join us to start hour number 2. And so I guess if there's anything left on the table from the weekend or this morning that you want to get into, we can post that and we'll rock and roll with Jason starting at 10 o'clock. KCD, by the way, has coaches' calls for Open Cup. So if you are watching/listening over the next 2 days on Paramount Plus, then you'll probably catch KCD. I think she's paired with Michael Watring. I'll check on that. I asked her to find out what matches she's doing, but she's tied up in Open Cup. She's got coaches' calls this morning, so she's locked in place. And then we get to talk to her about Open Cup after the fact, too. So rundown today is a combination of things. You're going to hear from Emma Hayes. And when we get into the WNT block, because there was a lot of good stuff that she had in the press conference getting ready for match number 2 with Japan in Seattle, first time since 2017. She mentioned the idea of a keeper competition. She also talked about what it's like to be in Seattle and how it is something that has always been on her radar in growing the game and going back to places and going to new places. And then also the notion of playing the same team more than once in a window. And so really good stuff from Emma Hayes. Claudia Dickey's also available, Trinity Rodman, depending on time, but I do want to get the Emma Hayes stuff in because that's massively important, and she had some really good talking points going forward. With CONCACAF tonight, you've got the 2 matches going on. We'll get into juice boxes in a bit, but the early one is LAFC on the road at Cruz Azul. You will hear from Benny Feilhaber from the Inside LAFC podcast about what his thoughts are on match number 3. Traditionally, on Monday afternoons Eastern time, Max Bretos and Benny Feilhaber, or Max and the guests of 1,000, will come in and they'll discuss LAFC. And so this was Max asking Benny what he thought about the second leg, and Benny breaks it all down. I mean, breaks it all down for you. So Benny Feilhaber from the Inside LAFC podcast, his conversation with Max Bretos is available, and that's in the queue. The late game, 11:30. Jason might be having at least a little bit of an early night, showing you what's going on with Nashville and Club America. 11:30 kick. Yikes. 11:30 kick with Club America and Nashville SC. We'll catch up with BJ Callahan and Maxwell Edgy. And they're in the middle of the same thing that Atlanta United is in, albeit a little different, with Atlanta United in Open Cup in the midweek and Nashville traveling to Club America for CONCACAF Champions Cup. So you're getting into that midweek weekend routine, and then once again coming back around for midweek next week. So you've got all of that to go on with CONCACAF. You got those 2 matches today. We've got all the Open Cup stuff. And today, specifically, looking at the round of 32, it is 7 matchups tonight. And we'll break all of those down for you. I think, let me see if we actually have juice boxes that are attached to this, so we can kind of let you know what we've got. I think we've got juice boxes for these games. We don't. Okay, so we actually have started getting juice boxes for the others. Okay, so 4 juice boxes are available for tomorrow as of right now. 7, all 7 for tonight are available. We'll get into that in Open Cup. Tomorrow, just to give you an idea, we are wall to wall when it comes to everything Open Cup. We're going to catch up with Mike Jeffries, the head coach of Charlotte Independence, ahead of their match with Charlotte FC at Matthews. Then also we're going to catch up with Rob Ukrop from Richmond Kickers, and that will be available tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be beyond stacked. You've got your UPSL update, trying to find the busiest man in the Northeast, Dylan Butler. Our Open Cup dates with Charlotte Independence and with Richmond Kickers, and efforting our conversation with getting you prepped from the Chattanooga FC side of things with our friend Gabe Schrei. So we'll catch up. So tomorrow's going to be a lot of Open Cup and a lot of getting you ready from what happened today to get into tomorrow. But Wednesday's going to be a lot of review preview, but we're going to go really hard into Open Cup. Charlotte Independence, Richmond Kickers, Chattanooga, obviously Atlanta to get into that, plus your UPSL update, and we'll see if we can catch up with our friend Dylan Butler. So that's the rundown for tomorrow. Starts today, CONCACAF, Open Cup, Champions League, all over the place, and all of your news and stuff that's fit to print. And speaking of which I say, there's a piece of breaking news that happened just before we came on the air. So I guess that means I got to do this. And that means that it comes from the Premier League. This came from multiple locations, but we'll go with Ornstein Cortegana and Dan Sheldon out of The Athletic. And I guess technically this is opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. If you are into coffee to start your morning, start your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning, Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. And Donny Iraola is leaving Bournemouth at the end of the year. And you're going, yeah? Bournemouth has been very, very lucky in their due diligence in finding the right guy. And they did it with Eddie Howe, and you saw where Eddie Howe took Bournemouth. Eddie Howe moves on to Newcastle, and then they're trying to figure out, okay, who do we bring in to take over from Eddie Howe to try and continue the run that we're on under Black Knight? And it's been a really good run in the front office. Really good run in the front office. So it was Eddie Howe for the second time through from October 2012 to August of 2020. And then they were trying to find, Jason Tyndall came in as a bit of a caretaker. Jonathan Woodgate came in as a caretaker. You had Scott Parker, and that really didn't work. Gary O'Neill kind of didn't. And then they came on Andoni Iraola. And Andoni Iraola has been there since June 19th of 2023. So he will have been there 3 years before they part ways. But Iraola is leaving at the end of his contract. Expires at the end of the year. And so signed an extension in the summer of 24. Started 12 months earlier on an initial 2-year deal. Bournemouth is saying that they've tried everything possible to keep him after 15 months of negotiations. Disappointed to lose him, respect his decision, maintain a strong relationship. Squad has been informed of the head coach's departure at the end of the campaign. Already underway, searching for his replacement. Ipswich Town's Kieran McKenna features highly in their thinking. Other candidates are under consideration. Ipswich, who are challenging for Premier League promotion, want to keep McKenna, but his contract does contain a release clause. The Athletic had reported back at the beginning of April that Iraola is one of Crystal Palace's targets. I'll tell you now, don't go. Don't go. Unless they give you resources, then you're going, and decision-making and a lot of the power that's associated with it. All you've got to do right now with Happy to Be Here FC is look at what Oliver Glasner has gone through. Do you want that kind of smoke? Do you want that kind of headache? That would be my question. I think if Iraola went to La Liga, maybe that would be a step for him. But Crystal Palace, not so sure. After Glasner confirmed he was leaving, Crystal Palace was like, ooh, Iraola. So Athletic Club was also interested at one point in making their next head coach Valverde announcing his upcoming exit last month. Sources now regard that as unlikely. Initially targeted by Spurs in March of 25, don't do it. Would have had to pay his £10 million release clause, $13 million currently, to secure his services. They eventually would have appointed Thomas Frank after sacking Ange Postecoglou. And so Bournemouth right now, they're right there in that middle zone where if you get a couple of wins here or there, you could naturally be in contention for Conference League, Europa League, what have you. And this is after losing in the offseason Hewson, Zabarnyi, Kirkesh, Dango Ouattara, all in the summer window. So then they had a great start to the campaign, 11 games winless. They haven't lost in the league since a 3-2 defeat by Arsenal January 3rd and beat them last week to break their 5-game draw streak. Came from Rayo Vallecano after Gary O'Neill, and he had helped them to an 11th place finish. So through the 24-25 campaign, starting with 1 win in their first 5, recovered to finish 9th, 9 points out of qualification. So Tom Harris was asked about what Iraola has brought to the table. Said that it wouldn't be too much of an exaggeration to suggest his ideas have helped to alter the tactical landscape of the Premier League that we see today. Transformed Bournemouth into an aggressive, high-pressing side throughout his 3 years, encouraging players to be proactive, to take risks, to disrupt the opposition in their build-up before hitting quickly on the break. Record points tally last year, wins over Manchester City and Arsenal, leading Guardiola to describe Bournemouth as a, quote, modern football side. And so physicality, athleticism, and pace didn't allow dominant possession sides to rest with the ball, philosophy that seems to have inspired somewhat of a mini revolution across the Premier League. For Bournemouth, Irola's conviction to his ways allowed the club to play ambitiously. So cohesion at the top down, and I think that's the key. So cohesion from the top down helped Bournemouth to grow within their means, not spending with outside of their means, in Black Knight and Bill Foley, generating millions in transfer profit as they continue to scale the league. Never managed to take him to Europe, Iraola rose the floor considerably at a club who might have meandered back towards relegation without such a sense of identity in how they played. So with that now, you wonder the next steps for Bournemouth. That's not necessarily a conversation I thought I would have to start things off on a Tuesday morning, but you look at what Andoni Iraola has done and has made Bournemouth trouble in the Premier League. And this is going to be a big decision for that club because they have come from that place, the lower third. Eddie Howe comes in, they start pushing up higher. Iraola comes in his 3 seasons, and they're pushing even higher, causing trouble for a lot of folks above them. The higher that they bring in, however their search firm or whatever Black Knight does to kind of bring folks in, that's going to be key for me in looking at all of this. How does this register for Bournemouth in the future? You hit on Andoni Iraola. Let him bring in his guys. Let him have his style. But now that he's out the door at the end of this season, what do you search for then? With the folks that are there, this is one of those stories in the offseason. I think that it's going to be below the radar because of everybody focusing on the shiny objects in the Premier League. But going into the summer and getting ready for next year, How does Bournemouth approach bringing in their new guy, having accomplished what they have to this point? They've done really well under Iraola, bringing in talent, selling them on, bringing in more talent, selling them on. Now what do you do? I'm intrigued. And Andoni Iraola out at the end of his contract. He's not renewing, and they've negotiated for 15 months. And then Andoni's like, I'm good. So how Bournemouth responds in the summer, that's going to be big for me. I am interested. One of the mid-tablers that has been playing above their weight. How do you maintain? That's the big question for me. So that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Once again, we want to start your day with the most important stories in the game. Right way to start your morning is Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. All right. So let's get into Champions League. We can preview that. And like I said, Jason's coming in to start hour number 2. And we could probably go all over the place with Jason. We do have some interesting news out of France involving Michel Kang and Lyon. And so now Ben Jacobs is already reporting, as we've just finished opening kickoff, former Dortmund boss Marco Rose is a leading contender to replace Iraola. And he also mentioned Kieran McKenna. So keeping an eye out for all of that. But, yeah, let the wheels spin now for Bournemouth. Not really a sentence I would have thought I would have been saying. Interesting. Morning, Dell, morning, Abby. And whatever else is also on your mind that we didn't necessarily address on Monday, go ahead and hit us in the Twitch pitch, and you guys can have the conversation there, and we'll drift in and see who's here visiting us with us this morning. News out of Columbus: Wissam Abu Ali has ligament damage. He knew it. You could tell that he knew it when he was being taken off the field by Columbus. And so he has announced he has suffered a torn ACL. He was on crutches after the match and stretchered off with a right knee injury on Sunday Night Soccer, but it has now been divulged he suffered a torn ACL. So Abu Ali was putting up a lot of numbers, and he was toward the top of the charts when it came to goals in Major League Soccer this year. But Wissam Abu Ali suffered a torn ACL, and so he will be out for the foreseeable future once again. And then it was non-contact happened in the first half, and it was 5 goals in 6 starts this year. And so now it is going to be interesting to see what Columbus does from here with Wissam Abu Ali. Once again, newcomer of the year credentials were there, and now he is out with an ACL an ACL and a meniscus tear in the non-contact injury. So obviously thinking about Wissam Abu Ali in his recovery, but huge loss really for the early season in Columbus. We'll keep an eye on that too. Getting into Champions League today. Champions League, we get to start the second legs. Starting the second legs today, and we have the what happened in the first legs, and can teams that are down 1 goal, can they come back around, and can they flip the grid and work their way into the semifinals of the Champions League? That's the larger question for today when it comes to Champions League and the margins that are there. So in the fixtures and the fixture lists, once again, you look at the breakdown of what it's going to be. PSG has a 2-0 lead over Liverpool. Atleti has a 2-0 lead over Barcelona. Real Madrid is down 2-1 to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich had 2 goals on the board early second half. Real Madrid comes back to score, makes it 2-1. And then Arsenal has the 1-0 lead over Sporting. And that one took a while before that one kind of got its result. So that's what you're staring at today in Champions League. Once again, these are 3 o'clockers today and tomorrow. Today it's Atleti and Barca. Atleti with a 2-0 lead. And PSG leading Liverpool heading to Anfield. Once again, that one's 2-0. And so looking at those two, I don't know if either can be flipped. I know that everybody's staring at Barcelona, sitting there going, ooh, you know. Atleti's home record against Barca in the Champions League, they've won both previous matches against Barcelona in Madrid, keeping the clean sheet each time. Then the previous meetings between the two have come in the quarterfinals in Champions League, in addition to league play. Atleti won both ties 2-1 in the aggregate in 2013-14 and 3-2 in the aggregate in 15-16. So you look at Atleti being the favorite in this at the Estadio Metropolitano. Clement Turpin is the man in the middle. It is set to be an all-French crew. Nicolas Dano and Benjamin Pahé are the ARs. Mathieu Vernice is your fourth. VAR is Jérôme Brissard. And Willy Delahode is your AVAR. So it is an all-French crew for this matchup coming up today. But it looks promising for Atleti if you believe in past history as an indicator at the Wander Metropolitano. So 2-0 Atleti going in on this one. Then the juice boxes for the match, not for the two legs. For the match, Barca is favored at a -122. Atletico de Madrid is a +275, and the draw is a +359. Very different situations, obviously, with the two. If you believe in predictors and things like that, Atleti is predicted by all the folks that grind the numbers. 75% chance of advancing. PSG is given an 88% chance of advancing. So you look at those 115 Champions League knockout ties where the hosts have lost the first leg, only 7 managed to get through. So that's 6.1% in changing and overturning a first leg loss. 3 of those matches decided by the away goals rule, which was removed back in the 2021 season, June of 21. So not looking good if you are a believer in past history and trying to flip scripts. Atleti, by the way, are unbeaten in their 10 previous UEFA competition home matches against fellow Spanish competition. I feel like Jimmy the Greek here all of a sudden. They've also won all 22. Morning, Ricky. Oh, morning, Alex. Hopefully recovery is going well. Also, Atleti has won all 22 previous two-leg UEFA ties in which they won the first leg away. Barcelona have lost all 6 in which they were defeated in the first leg at home. Liverpool and PSG, once again, PSG's up 2-0 at Anfield. Liverpool have won 14 of 18 UEFA competition home matches against French opposition, though they did lose the most recent one to PSG in last season's round of 16. It's like if A, then B, follow the C, carry the 2, all this kind of stuff. So these are your key facts. Once again, let me see if I can say it correctly. Atleti unbeaten in their previous 10 UEFA competition home games against fellow Spanish competition. 22 in a row they have won in two-legged UEFA ties where they won the first leg away. Barca has lost all 6 when they lost the first leg at home. So Barca 0-6 in the tie when they lose the first round at home. Atleti, they've won 22 in a row where they won the first leg away from home. And Liverpool's won 14 of 18 home matches against French opposition, but they did lose last time out. So they're 14-4, but they did lose their last one to PSG. So that's what you're looking at with the Champions League quarterfinals. Juice boxes on the other one. Liverpool is favored in the second leg to win the second leg at home at a +135. PSG is a +170. Draw is a +309. So to win the leg, Barcelona favored minus side on the road. Liverpool favored at home on the plus side. So that's what you're looking at with those two heading into Champions League. And once again, getting into, since we're discussing it, the what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Since we're already talking about all these different competitions, we got to tell you where to watch. So that link is important. fntz.co/soccer down here, because adds everything and adds more streaming services and more matches and more parts of the planet that you may not necessarily have had going in. So that link, massively important. You get Fanatis, you get BN, you get all the BNs, which means you get all of the main Africa competitions, and we've got news about the AFC as well. And what's going on in the Far East as they've expanded Champions League. So with Fanatis, once again, you get all the BNs. You get AFCON, you get CAF Champions League, you get all the competitions that are there. You get Libertadores, you get Sudamericana. There's that to get into today, where one of the teams is a lower division club, and they're taking on a larger opponent. One of the players on this team is their team president, who's the age of 52. And so he's playing, and he wants to play against the big names in the competition. So you're getting that today as a part of Sudamericana and Libertadores. And if you've missed the Libertadores show with Howard Hamilton, new one is out as he inches closer to episode 100 to let you know what's going on there. So that's also in your purview. So Libertadores, Sudamericana, Champions League and CONCACAF, UEFA Champions League, and Open Cup. All of that's going on. Fanatis, once again, you get Libertadores, you get Sudamericana, you get all of the matches and competitions on the African continent. You get contacts, you get to tap-ins to Tigo Sports, you get tap-ins to CATV, you get the Polish League, you get the French League, you get the Turkish League, and it gives you an opportunity to keep an eye on Cruton and folks that might need to come over here, and you've seen them already over in Europe, and they're over in Major League Soccer, so they go, yeah, I saw him, because I had Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. And you get a lot of the A and the B leagues from the other nations in South America on Fanatis. So it's Paraguay, it's Colombia, it's Peru with Liga 1 and Liga 1 Max Pro. It is Uruguay I've seen recently. So it's all there. Argentina and the LPF, the A and the B, that's all there. You get that at Fanatis. So what to watch today? Well, there's a lot. BN has Libertadores. They've got a triple header. Cerro Porteño Junior, Boca Juniors, Barcelona, and Universitario and Coquimbo Unido, 6, 8, and 10. Simulcast on BN Español. CBS Sports Network has your doubleheader in Open Cup. Louisville and Austin at 7. That's also in Picks of the Week, so you have a handful of hours before you want to take that one. Colorado Union Omaha is at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce City, Colorado. That one's at 9:30. FS1 has your doubleheader in CONCACAF, 9 and 11:30. I love how Soccer America says it's 11:30 in the morning. How cute. FS2 is the league we don't talk about. Once again, BN Español simulcasting Libertadores. 2 to NA's got Champions League. They have Atleti and Barca at 3, and they're simulcasting Champions League, CONCACAF. Univision has the simulcast of Atleti and Barca. Golazo Network has a doubleheader Open Cup. Detroit City and Chicago at 7:30. Sacramento and Minnesota and the Loons at 10. Fox ONE simulcasting Champions League and the league we don't talk about. Paramount Plus, championship in the getting everybody on the same page with the number of matches. Portsmouth and Ipswich is at 3. That's big for Ipswich. It's big for Portsmouth to try to stay out of the relegation zone. It's big for Ipswich for automatic promotion. League 1, 2:45, Huddersfield and Cardiff. League 2, 2:45, Chesterfield and Grimsby. All of the matches in the Open Cup, and then UEFA Champions League, all of that's on Paramount Plus. Women's side, FS1, CONMEBOL Nations League, Venezuela, Argentina tonight at 7. They've also got on FS2 on the women's side matches at 5 and 9. So if you're watching CONMEBOL Nations League, you go FS2, FS1, FS2, 5, 7, 9. CBS Sports Network, they've also got a World Cup qualifier on the women's side for 27, England and Spain at 2 o'clock. Tonight is the international friendly with the U.S. and Japan. That's on TNT. It's on Universo. It's on Universo. Like I said, we have sound from Emma Hayes, Claudia Dickey, Trinity Rodman, hour number 2. Golazo Network, Sweden and Denmark at 1. The Plus has the Netherlands and France at 2:45. Fox ONE has all of the matches in CONMEBOL Nations League. And all this is women's soccer, by the way, today. USA Japan also on HBO Max at 10 o'clock. Paramount Plus has your World Cup qualifier at 1. Then qualifiers in CONCACAF, 3, 5, and 5:30. Peacock is also simulcasting USA and Japan. There'll be a test in a bit. We'll get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo also in hour number 2. So that's everything going on today. Like literally, that's everything going on today. And there's a lot to go on today. So now that we've talked about Champions League, let's get you into Open Cup and the chaos that is associated with it, because there's plenty of that associated with it. Now, Dell, Atleti decided not to cut the grass. Yes, and it's like decided not to cut the grass at the Metropolitano to slow Barca down. Then they turned on the sprinklers when Barca trained. What was it? They had it cut to Atleti. I think it was, they were supposed to have it cut to a certain length of millimeters. I think it's 20. Was it 28 millimeters? Okay, so Barca was going to complain over the grass length at the Metropolitano. They raised concerns about the grass length. Hansi Flick was discussing the issue with UEFA during the training session. So Flick was pointing at the turf, discussing the height of the grass. According to AS, Blaugrana officials later clarified that no formal complaint had been lodged. However, the club confirmed that Hansi Flick had raised observations with UEFA officials who subsequently followed their routine pre-match pitch inspection protocols. Same report also claimed Atleti rejected suggestions that their pitch surface was problematic ahead of the second leg, claimed the grass was in good condition or even much better than it was a month ago. They pointed out that warmer temperatures in Madrid in recent weeks have helped maintain the quality of the surface. Response came after attention turned to the pitch after Barca's last visit in the Copa del Rey. Then in the opening goal, it took a wonky bounce. Atleti ended up winning that one 4-0. Third trip to the Metropolitano this year. 4-0 defeat in the Copa del Rey. 2-1 victory in La Liga, Lewandowski scoring in the late winter. Also, they enjoyed success in there last year, winning 4-2 in the Liga, 1-0 in Cup. And so that's from our friends at Goal. But yes, literally, you had to cut it. I think that it was like 28 millimeters, I think was what they were staring at as a length. And because of the length of the length of the grass, Barcelona was kind of hot about it. But no, the grass is not going to be adjusted, mowed, or just sheen down to, like very, very little. But yeah, there was a set number just south of 30 millimeters that was supposed to be the set number. I think it was 28. And so that's what you were looking at with that particular tete-a-tete with Hansi Flick and UEFA and Atleti and grounds crews and teams. Anything, if you're Hansi Flick, and if it is a legit concern, and I'm sure that it's also wrapped up into the notion of pre-game gamesmanship and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going, yeah, okay, last time out in the Copa, things were a little screwy, so I'm concerned. You go to UEFA, hey, this happened last time. I don't know if you remember, and can you take a look at this? So it's just, you're kind of sitting there and you're kind of poking the bear a little bit. You're in their building, hey, I don't like how the furniture is arranged. Then you have the independent interior decorator. You sit there and go, your feng shui guy. It's like, hey, can you look at this for a second? And the person that owns the house that you're going to go and kind of stay in and have, a party and stay for the night or whatever. It's like a soccer Airbnb. The Barca goes in. I don't like how the furniture is. I don't like this rug. And then you bring in your feng shui guy, or you bring in the head of the Airbnb committee, and it's like, hey, can you look at this? Does this carpet look good to you? Does this carpet look good? Is this okay for you? It's like, I don't know if this carpet matches these drapes. I don't know if it matches the sofa or anything. Can you do something about the carpet? And the owner of the B&B is standing right there. It's like, you're talking to the head of the Airbnb committee. You're like the collective. It's like if you're in like this, like a condo association. So if you go into the Airbnb and it's in a condo association, the HOA, the head of the HOA is standing there with you. You're like, I don't like this carpet. But the owner of the Airbnb is standing right there with you. It's like, so are you gonna say something to you're gonna file paperwork with the head of the HOA? No, but I just thought I should bring you over just to kind of point it out. Just to kind of point this out a little bit. I was kind of looking at that. I was like, yeah, I don't know if the carpet matches these drapes. The person that owns the Airbnb is standing right there. Yeah, 3 o'clock is going to be a very, very busy day. So Dell, set your clocks and make sure you have multiple devices going. But yeah, literally, it's like you're talking to the head of the HOA and the owner of the house is right there. You're leasing the house. I don't like this carpet. But wait a minute, you're leasing the house from me. Yeah, so I don't like this carpet. So do you want the carpet changed? No, I just wanted to bring it up. That kind of a thing. That's what it sounded like to me. That's what it was like that's what it sounded like for me in this situation. It's like you're complaining about the carpet, but you're not going to have them change it. Not that the head of the HOA would change it. Yeah, carpet matching the drapes is a completely different topic. No doubt. Absolutely true. That's why I defer to the boss in those situations. But yeah, it's just like complaining to the head of the Airbnb committee, and the owner of the house is right there. So that's your matchups in Champions League. 2 today, 2 tomorrow. We'll talk about tomorrow. But like I said, tomorrow is stacked beyond stacked because of Open Cup. So we'll have coaches on. We'll have analysts on. We'll get you ready for everything else in Open Cup and everything else that happened today. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So tomorrow is a stacked show. We're kind of getting you set up for everything here in the week with this today where you get to hear from a lot of folks. No, absolutely, Dell, it is absolutely not. Literally, it was just Dell's like, is it a reference for me working in real estate? No, not a bit. I'm like, it's just the first thing that popped into my head. It's like you're leasing a summer home from somebody, and you're sitting there, and it's like, it's on the beach and everything, and that's great, and I can look out the back window and I can see the Gulf and everything. But I don't like this carpet. So are you're gonna have them change the carpet just because it doesn't look good? No, I just wanted to bring it up. If you were the owner of the house, and dude who's renting the house from you is talking to the head of the HOA with you in the room, how would that make you feel? That's kind of what we have here with. Could you imagine Diego Simeone as a house owner? Simeone's there in his black suit. Dell's the head of the HOA that has all of the row homes that are staring out at the body of water that you're next to. You come wandering in. You're leasing the house from Simeone. And you're like, and you just want to kind of needle him a little bit. And you said, I just don't. You're just talking to Dell. Dell, I don't know about this carpet. Simeone's staring at you the entire time. How do you think that's going to play? I think it's going to play the same kind of way at the Metropolitano this afternoon at 3 o'clock. So yes, if you have any real estate concerns, talk to Dell. All right, CONCACAF. Let's get you into that. Juice boxes for. Okay, so one more time. Juice boxes for today only. And this is today only. This is not the two-legged tie on the whole. Barca's a minus 122. Draws a plus 359. Atleti is a plus 275. Today only. Today's result only. So Atleti on the plus side at plus 275. Liverpool and PSG, which no one is talking about, except for maybe the future of Arne Slot. Liverpool a plus 135. Down 2-0. Draws a plus 309. PSG today only is a plus 170. So those are the juice boxes for those two. CONCACAF today. CONCACAF tonight, once again, later than late. Later than late. Champions Cup today. Jason's going to join us about 15 minutes. LA to win today. They're up 3-0. They're a plus 380. Draws a plus 350. Cruz Azul is a minus 164 on the day, but they've got 3 goals to make up. Yesterday, Benny Feilhaber, Max Bretos were on the Inside LAFC podcast, and so Benny Feilhaber was asked what he thought about this particular matchup. So here is said Benny Feilhaber discussion on the matchup.
What did they do, right? And this is what I saw a lot of questions as to, what is LAFC going to, what roster, what starting 11 are they going to put out there? What kind of tactics are they going to have in the second game and altitude? Look, I think you go back to the first game. What did LAFC do really well? Well, they defended their box really well, right? The one moment that they were, broken through with that cross and header, You have Hugo Lloris, which I failed to mention when I was having my little, spiel about what they've looked like defensively. He's been there every moment that the defense, in those 1 or 2 moments a game that the defense gets outdone somehow. And he's there to stop it, right? And he's been there even in the Orlando 6-0 game. There was a couple of moments where there were some really dangerous shots through legs, through bodies that he's able to stop. And so Hugo Lloris right now is playing at the height of his LAFC career. Since he's been here in MLS, this is the best he's been playing. And then obviously you marry that with the defense that is in front of him. I just think that's why they've been so good. And now you add what LAFC can do in space from an individual perspective, a dynamic individual perspective. Cruz Azul can't do what LAFC can. They don't have a David Martinez that can dribble players at speed. They don't have a Denny Bouanga that can dribble and shoot the way that he does at speed, or a Sonny that can hold the ball up, make a pass, and then get into the box and get a goal for himself. And so they're 3-0 in the lead because they're able to do that. And Cruz Azul doesn't have the kind of players that LAFC do. And I think that I would be absolutely shocked, barring any injuries, that you see anything other than the starting 11 that started against Cruz Azul in the first leg. I think you have the exact same starting 11. There's no doubt it's the front three. There's really very little doubt that it's the midfield three, and then the back four with Eddie Segura back on that left side. And you got obviously Hugo Lloris between the posts. And like I said earlier, yes, I think we talked about this when they went to Alajuelense. There are funny things that can happen in Mexico and Central America and CONCACAF games that you can't prepare for, right? The moment, and look, just to bring another CONCACAF game that happened, a couple of weeks ago in Cincinnati where they were up 3-0. It's like an avalanche when it starts coming. If you open the door and they can kind of see a little bit of weakness and a little bit of doubt in your head, and they get a goal and now they're, trying to go after it, things can change very quickly. However, I think that LAFC are very well built to sustain whatever pressure Cruz Azul gives them. I think Cruz Azul is going to have a very hard time getting a goal in the first half or even early into the second half. Maybe they can get one late on when it hopefully doesn't matter anymore. And even more so, the longer you keep it at zeros, the more they're going to expose themselves on the counter. And I just don't know, unless, they all leave their shooting boots at home, the front trio, I just don't see LAFC not getting a goal on the counterattack in this game. So, yes, I think it's possible that Cruz Azul brings something to the table and we have a competitive match. And do I think it's impossible for Cruz Azul to advance? No, I don't think it's impossible. But I think that there's a lot of things that have to go wrong for LAFC to ultimately not go through in this tie. So it starts with the defense, the resiliency of the 2 blocks of 4, including all starting 11 players working together. And then the dynamic aspect of their counterattack, their speed into space, and those front three. So I think we'll see a lot of what we saw in the first game, and Cruz Azul is going to have to show something completely different than it did in the first leg to be able to, break through this defensive front.
Benny Feilhaber with Max Brethaus on the Inside LAFC podcast. And so they're the early game. Man, they're the early game in this. It's going to be a late night. And like I said, and Jason, I'm hoping Jason gets a nap. I'm really hoping Jason gets a nap because it's going to be a late night for him. And it is going to be Atlanta soccer tonight. So this is kind of a way to get everybody's naps in before Atlanta soccer tonight later today. So the rundown for Jason, if I could, hit buttons and not screw things up. So later tonight, 11 o'clock. So 11 to 1, you'll have Jason discussing anything and everything going on in the world. You'll have the first match in CONCACAF almost, well, in theory, it should be over. If it goes just 90 minutes, it should be over. Gets to talk about LAFC and Cruz Azul, but then you've got the matchup with Club America and Nashville SC. Nothing happened first leg. Club America at home today, favored. No surprise. Minus 149. Draws a plus 290. And Nashville to get the result on the road is a plus 400. couple of folks to hear from in this one to get you ready for it. Here's BJ Callahan yesterday before they hopped on a plane, I'm guessing today, or at least late night last night, because when you're dealing with travel and everything, that's another key to this whole bit in CONCACAF. So here's BJ Callahan after practice yesterday, answering questions from the media getting ready for leg number 2 against Club America.
I mean, I think anytime we look at the game, obviously in the game, we're trying to adjust and also to, just encourage the guys towards the end of that game because it's, they're tired and it was hot. But at the same time, when we evaluate, we're always trying to get better. And I think there's areas that we can get better, and we have a short period of time to do that. But yeah, we want to be always improving so that the next game, which is tomorrow night, we have, we're a better version of ourselves.
You told us for sure that the team has stuff in place for stuff like altitude and whatever it comes to you tomorrow at Mexico City. But is it something that you need to kind of force you guys to take care of stuff earlier than later on a game like that?
I mean, I think we are all sort of have experience with altitude. We've been very proactive with our high performance and medical team, leading in once we knew we would be going there. This group is a really diligent, professional group of guys in that locker room. We don't have to force anything. They take care of themselves, and they have some of the top support.
Just looking at the first leg, obviously holding Club America without a goal. What do you like from that performance? And I guess what parts of the first leg do you think translate over to the second leg? And what do you think is going to be different about this coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just gives us a foundation. We know Club America is really well coached with lots of good players, so there's always going to be adjustments made, but at least it just gives us a foundation on, I thought from a defensive standpoint, we were able to remain compact, something that we always want to do. We were able to limit scoring chances, which, I think it helps you in big games like this when you have two really good teams going against each other. It's going to be about those fine margins. But at the same time, I think we're going to have to be adaptable and kind of be ready for whatever's thrown at us. And at the same time, we're making our own adjustments on our end and, from things that we saw that we have to get better at.
BJ Callahan, head coach of Nashville SC, as they get ready for their roadie to Club America, taking on Club America in the second leg in the quarters, and chance for Nashville to really make an impact when it comes to the history of their franchise tonight if they can get a result out of the matchup with Club America. And also at the media gathering yesterday, Max Walegi, and here are his thoughts heading into the matchup as well. Once again, a lot that can be accomplished for Nashville, but they're also in the midweek schedule compression section of their schedule because of CONCACAF, because of MLS. Here's what Max Walegi had to say heading into this road trip.
Yeah, for me, it's so important because I will relate it to my experience as well. I remember last season when I was with my former club, we were losing the preseason games, and the game before our season starts, we won the game, and that was the game that pushed us to the wonderful season we had, and that was actually what I was praying for against Charlotte, to have a good result and take it to the next game. So when we had it, I was impressed and happy because of the result and how important it will be to lead out to tomorrow's game.
There's no question how difficult playing America and Mexico City will be, but is there a more motivated team than you guys coming into this game?
Yeah, every player and of course every team wants to play against a club like Club America, and you have to be happy and also be motivated and inspired to meet a club like that. So for me, I just feel like we are all motivated and just ready for the game. Yeah.
Max Walegi getting ready for the game against Club America. Once again, juice boxes in this one. It is for the match tonight only, not the two legs, not the two-legged tie, but for tonight only. Cruz Azul favored. They're down 3 to LAFC. Minus 164 at Puebla's home stadium because the Azteca is undergoing renovations as a part of everything. So you're not having teams necessarily playing in their home stadia when it comes to getting ready for the World Cup. So Cruz Azul, they are playing at Puebla, and they're at a minus 164 tonight. LAFC is a plus 380. Draw is a plus 350. Club America minus 149. Nashville SC to win on the road in Mexico is a plus 400. Draw is a plus 290. So that's what you're looking at with those two matchups. And in the bracket, so I feel like I need to come into the bracket here just so we can kind of look at where things can go from here. Bracket in the quarterfinals. Nashville Club America, right-hand side of the quarterfinals, and they get the winner of Tigres and Seattle. And Tigres and Seattle, man, they get the 11:30 tomorrow night. Tigres and Seattle, 11:30 tomorrow night. They're waiting on the winner of Nashville and Club America. And just from the, and we'll look at it again tomorrow. But to win the match tomorrow, Seattle, who is trailing, they're a plus 120 at home. And then it's going to be a plus 240 on the draw and plus 225 for Tigres. Then you've got LAG and Toluca. They are the early game. Toluca is a road favorite, up a goal at a plus 137. LAG is a plus 179, and your draw is a plus 260. But the brackets themselves, Nashville Club America, right-hand side, upper right in the quarters. Winner of that one gets winner of Tigres and Seattle. Left-hand side, winner of Toluca and LAG, which is 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Man, dude, I mean, so if you're going to watch tomorrow night, just get in a nap. And you got to have two devices going on at the same time because it's 11 o'clock and 11:30 tomorrow. Well, it's listed as 11 o'clock in the it's listed as 11 o'clock on the CONCACAF website, but the Juice Boxers have it at 9 o'clock. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. But if it's still 9 o'clock, 11:30, 9 o'clock, 11:30, that makes more sense. The CONCACAF website has the Toluca match at 11 o'clock tomorrow night against LAG, which would make sense considering, you're out in the western part of the hemisphere. But 11 o'clock tomorrow night is what CONCACAF has it listed at. Juice Boxers have it listed at 9. Either way, it's going to be a late night. Toluca and LAG gets the winner of Cruz Azul and LAFC. Nashville Club America gets the winner of Tigres and Seattle. So that's what you're looking at to get into the final four of the Triple C, the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. And that's what your focus is going to be tonight. But like I said, it's a late night tonight. So there might be some pacing. There might be some napping going on. And like I said, you've got Libertadores going on as well tonight. And it is going to be off the charts as well. Did I mention Fanatis? But this is one of those years and one of these weeks really where, I mean, seriously, people, come on. No matches can be displayed, no odds available. Come on. That is just not right. So I'm trying to find the matchups for Libertadores because, once you listen to Howard Hamilton's Libertadores show, then you're all prepared for it. So Copa Libertadores. Okay. So Copa Libertadores today. Once it rolls over and gives me the information that I'm looking for. It's thinking. Here we go. Okay. So Copa Libertadores. You have the matchups. No, that's the playoffs. I don't want the playoffs. I want today. What I'm looking for is today, people, not May and June. I don't want the playoffs. Oh, no wonder. Okay, so that's how is that? Wait a minute. I mean, seriously? You're giving me futsal here. That is not what I'm looking for. That is just out of control. All right, so let's see if it gives me Sudamericana. And then when Jason comes in, he can get me the odds for, so maybe it was CONMEBOL. That's why I didn't give it to me, because I didn't go CONMEBOL Sudamericana or CONMEBOL Libertadores. Okay, so today it is, today is the 14th. So today, Sao Paulo and O'Higgins in Group C, Gremio and Deportivo Riestra in Group F, Vasco and Audax Italiano in Group G, Santos and Recoleta. Recoleta is the team that I was telling you about that has the 52-year-old club president that wants to play against all of the legends. Then Palestino and Torque is at 8:30. So if you're looking for the Sudamericana matchups, Santos, by the way, is a minus 1111. And then held their hips at 1234. Recoleta is a plus 2,000. Draw, by the way, is a plus 850. But Sao Paulo and O'Higgins, Gremio Deportivo Riestra, Vasco and Audax Italiano, Santos and Recoleta, Palestino and Torque. That is what's going on today in Sudamericana. So now if I go CONMEBOL Libertadores. If I go CONMEBOL Libertadores, football. There we go. Ay. You giving me futsal again? You're going to give me something else. And this is what happens when you're chasing after things. Probably one of the marquee matchups, Boca Juniors and Barcelona. Boca Juniors is a minus 250. Draws a plus 375. Barcelona is a plus 700. So today, starting at 6 o'clock, Libertadores. Estudiantes en Cusco, Nacional en Tolima, Cerro Porteño, Junior Barranquilla, 8 o'clock, Bar and La Guaira. Boca Juniors, Barca's at 8. 10 o'clock, Universitario and Coquimbo Unido, and we can talk to our friend Nino Torres about that one coming up on Thursday. So now it is officially after 10 o'clock, hour number 2. And we bring in Jason to discuss anything and everything on his mind going on in the sport of soccer. I was trying to find the odds for the matchup with Santos and the team that they're playing tonight, where the 52-year-old team president wants to play, and he's been playing for the team in the past, and he wants to play against all the legends, and apparently he's going to insert himself into the lineup tonight, I think.
Okay. That doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, but I mean, they are a plus. Recoleta is the team. They're playing Santos tonight. They're a plus 2,000, and they're playing Santos, and their team president, who's north of 50, wants to insert himself into the lineup and play all the way.
Yeah, you got to love the chaos.
And that's why we have Fanatis and /soccer down here. All right, so it is Tuesday, and Atlanta United is in schedule compression in a bunch of different ways because you've got Open Cup and you've got MLS going on at the same time. They're not the only one with schedule compression with various competitions. What was yesterday like in some of the big takeaways getting into Open Cup and coming out of what happened on the weekend?
Yeah, I put Training Ground Notebook up this morning. Go check it out at soccerdownhere.net. I think Ine Mihai and Tata Martino were pretty open, pretty honest. It's not a great mood right now because the team's not winning. But not having a great mood doesn't mean that they don't believe that they can turn it around. And I think at times we lump everything together and don't separate the two things. Like, you can be down because you're not getting results right now, but you can also believe in the process. And I think the Chicago game is a little bit of a microcosm of that. I mean, I said it at the end of the broadcast. It's completely fine for everybody to be angry and mad about results and where the team sits in the table. These are real things. Like, this is reality. But you also have to analyze every 90 minutes for the 90 minutes. And I think we do this thing at times where if things are bad, then everything is bad unless there's a win. But if there's a win, then everything is good, which isn't true either. Right. And I think we fool ourselves with this sometimes. Like, we can talk big picture about what the season is so far, which isn't good. That doesn't mean that every individual performance inside of that is bad. And it becomes frustrating because I feel like anytime that I say anything positive, when somebody does something positive in a loss or in this kind of a situation like Chicago, where you were the better team. I mean, all the numbers back that up. It felt that way to me. And I think the numbers back it up, and you get caught on one bad moment where, to me, the goal comes from just disorganization in a defensive structure that should have been structured. Miguel Almiron points to a player behind him, and I think Elias Baez isn't sure where Miggy is going to go defensively. There's a player wider, and that moment of indecision between the two of them leads to the 1-2 that Mihai talked about. I mean, just can't let that happen because then everything breaks down. And, the question came from Mihai yesterday about like, well, who's organizing, who's talking to communicate and keep those things from happening. And Mihai's dead on. I mean, I went back through it this morning. It was 6 seconds. How fast can you see something breaking down and say what you need to say to change it? 6 seconds is not enough time to do that. Like you can't. Like it's not about talking. It's about not getting caught in that moment of disorganization and then everything starting to fall, because then that happens. Then Mihai's got to step out wider to try to deal because your left back's out of the play. Then Tristan Muyumba's got to slide over to try to deal when maybe he shouldn't have, because then the runner comes through the middle and he's unmarked and it's all falling apart. But it starts with the 1-2 and it starts with a moment. And that's what decides the game. It's unfair, in my opinion, to say that a team is bad, was bad, did a bad job for 90 minutes because of 6 seconds. The result is determined by the 6 seconds. Mm-hmm. But these are different conversations. And I beg for all of us to have an understanding of being able to talk about a game in totality and performances in totality, and understand that performance doesn't always equal result. And I say this the other way too, because the Philadelphia game for me, I think a lot of people thought everything was fixed and perfect after the Philadelphia game, and it wasn't. You didn't have a lot of control of that game. It was chaotic at times, but you were better in the chaotic moments than you've been consistently all season long. You had more control of the game in Chicago. I would honestly sit here and argue, and we could go back and forth around it, of the Chicago performance for 90 being better than the Philadelphia performance for 90. Yeah. The overall performance. But the results are what we're all going to talk about, and we should. But we have to be able to talk about both, I think, is where I'm at. And that's how you see long-term progress. Because long-term progress, and this is for any club in the world, I think Arsenal goes through this right now with what they're dealing with. I think Liverpool has gone through it a lot. I think every club goes through this. The long term is not defined by one result that could be defined by 6 seconds. The long term is literally the long term. How is the team playing over 90? How is the team playing over a week, a couple weeks, a month? How is the team playing over a portion of the season? What is the long term? I do feel like, in general, Atlanta United this year versus Atlanta United last year has a clear plan, has a clear progression of where they are trying to go. I don't think they have everything they need to get there. And that's the problem, is you need a 6. I think Chris Henderson has said that. Tata Martino has said that. Tristan Muyumba has done a solid job as the 6. He's not the 6 this team needs to get to the next level. I think he's limited in some ways that hurts this team. And he's inconsistent at times as well, which has hurt this team. But as I said, I think on this show, I know I've said it on AST, I know I've said it on broadcasts, I know I've said it on pre-games and post-games and everywhere I've been over the last probably 6 months. This team needs a goal scorer that can get you 15 plus goals a season. If you don't have that, I don't see this team competing at the level that they want to. And right now you don't have that, and that's got to change. And if that's Latte Lot finding the form that needs to be found, great, because he's here and he's under contract and he's already on the roster. If it's not, then something's got to change there, because this team can't do everything it needs to do if it's not scoring more goals. You can't win more games if you're not scoring more goals. That feels pretty simple.
Injury updates coming, I guess, through the Chicago match and heading into Open Cup. Alexi held out because of concerns, obviously schedule compression, and if he's feeling concerns going into the weekend, you're not going to risk it for longer term things.
He was feeling issues after arriving in Chicago, to be clear. Wasn't feeling 100%. I think Friday night is what Chris Henderson told us, if I remember correctly, on the pregame show. They checked him again. I don't know if they did a true fitness test or anything at the hotel on Saturday morning, but decided not to risk him there. It was a very cold night in Chicago, actually. And if you're dealing with a muscle issue, not the best of situations. He did train on the side yesterday. So will he be available for Chattanooga? I think that was the hope. I don't know if that's the plan right now. But yeah, there's more.
Saba, what do we know? Anything?
Nothing. I mean, I'll tell you what I saw. And I don't think this was really talked about on the broadcast, so there might be some confusion about it, and we'll talk about the actual tackle in a second. He stayed down behind the play. Chicago felt like he was not hurt. Well, he literally was. He couldn't put any weight on his right leg. Jay Fortune had to go over and help the trainer get him from where he was down on the far, for my angle, in the not press box, in the broadcast position at Soldier Field. He was in to the left behind the end line, couldn't walk down the line to get towards the bench area and towards the locker room ultimately. Needed help there. Multiple players went over to help the trainers get him there. No cart or anything was brought over. I don't know if that was supposed to have been or not. Just saying it wasn't. He needed crutches to help as we were getting to the plane, and then he did not by the time we arrived, which was a good sign. He was able to put a little bit of weight on it, but definitely ginger. I believe Doug Robertson reported that there was a negative on the x-rays. So that's a good sign. Just a hard hit. Maybe we're talking bone bruise or something like that. I don't know. Maybe just contusion. But Tata Martino and Rodrigo Rios after the game were very clear in feeling like that was a red card challenge. I didn't have a good look at it. We'll talk about the other two things that Tata Martino spoke about yesterday in a second, because I did have a good look at both of those. This one, again, it was kind of far away from me. It's on the opposite half of the field lengthwise, and it was in kind of the opposite, the left corner. So I couldn't see the way Mbalhazi slid in, what kind of contact he made with Saba, because he's sliding that way and Saba's here. So I can't really see the hit. I knew he stayed down. I knew he was hurt. I mean, I could tell really quick that he was hurt and he wasn't just laying there. When looking back at it, and I don't think they showed a replay of this on the broadcast, which, don't get me started on the replays on that broadcast, because they felt very slanted and they felt very non-existent in very key moments of situations that happened all over the place. Because I don't know how Latte Lot got a gash in his leg, which is also an issue when we talk about injuries. That happened at some point that we don't know. Mihai got smacked in the face, and it looked like a backwards kind of, it looked intentional to me, where he pushed the arm back. It wasn't a forearm. It looked like he got him with the either closed fist or got him kind of with a backhand to the face, which is supposed to be a red card everywhere I've heard. But anyway, and we only got one look at that one. They didn't want to show that one again. Okay. So the Saba situation, Rios and Martino were very upset about it. Looking back at it after I had to go do it manually because the broadcast didn't want to show a replay, I can see how it looks studs up. I wish there was another angle. I wish there was a better look at it. But it looked like it was studs up straight leg, which there needs to be an understanding that if you touch the ball in that situation and you go in studs up straight leg, it doesn't matter. You don't get diplomatic immunity for challenging that way. That can be a red card. And that is seemingly the argument from Rios and from Martino. I think Tata was a little more clear yesterday in saying the ball wasn't there, so he didn't get the ball. If the challenge is what the challenge looked like from the faraway angle that they had on the game broadcast, you could go red there. I don't think it was even checked. So that's another conversation.
Yeah, I don't think it was either. To my recollection, since I was listening to you and Mike, yet I had the video up, the Mihai incident only had the one look, and it was
one replay.
And I think it was from the 50-yard line.
Yep.
I think it was that low angle, and you really don't get a good look.
It's almost to the edge of the shot. Like they didn't get a good look at the contact, but you can see the hand going there. And the arm going back, and they didn't get a good look at it. And again, it was frustrating. I was begging for another look in the booth, and we didn't get it.
Yep, and the limited number of looks, I think, I think it was just maybe the one on Saba and nothing on Latte.
No, there wasn't another look at Saba. They never showed that one again.
Okay.
I have no idea when Latte Lot got hit.
Yeah.
The Mihai one, they showed one look and it wasn't good and they never tried again. Mm-hmm. So like, that's just frustrating. It's frustrating for a broadcaster because we'd like to be able to tell that whole story. I think being in the building, I was able to tell the story because I don't think it was really told on the broadcast, not with video, of Saba legit being hurt and not being able to walk.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of portrayed as like, oh, he got tackled and he stayed down and then he got subbed out. No, whoop-de-doo. No, dude couldn't walk. And that's a talking point. That's a conversation, whether you feel like it's a red card or not. Like, that's part of the story of the match.
Yeah. And so now I'm going to go back and look at all of those incidents, watching the match all over again between now and this upcoming weekend.
Yeah. So Latte Lot got a gash in his leg at some point. Stian Gregerson out yesterday from training, wisdom teeth. Would doubt he's available for Wednesday, but I don't know. And then Alzate has a groin issue, and he would have to be doubtful for Wednesday as well. I can't imagine you're going to turn around quick on that. So, yeah, depleted, and not the time you want to be, because you play Wednesday and then Saturday and then Wednesday and then Saturday in Toronto and then possibly again the following Wednesday.
Yep. And so before Stian and his wisdom teeth, I wanted to ask about the center backs and what you've seen from them, where Mihai and Gregerson, Stian's numbers from the match against Chicago, I think he registered in 6 different defensive categories. So a healthy Stian Gregerson, we're seeing what he is meaning, and he almost had the goal, was it in the 17th after you down 1-0, and he has that header that Mboazi just clears off the line. So Stian Gregerson, you're seeing a lot out of a healthy Stian Gregerson so far this year.
He's played well when he got into the lineup. He's played well. He also got beat on the opening goal against Columbus. So, I mean, that happened too, which to me is just one of those individual losses in a game that then transforms everything, because then you're down 1-0 and the whole game is different. I think he's been well. I think there was too harsh a criticism of Juan Bettercall, and a lot of it results from one play that he's not the first or second issue on it. He's the third person who's trying to clean up the mistake.
Right.
Kind of strange, but anyway. Mihai's been excellent. I think nobody's talked about him enough. He's been very, very good all season long. He hasn't had any major mistakes this season. He's been very steady. I always enjoy getting a chance to hear from him in media, because I think he's very, very thoughtful, very thorough in what he has to say, very open, doesn't really hold back. He's a key figure in this team for me. He's a key building block. I want to see him here for a long time, because I think he can be a guy that is a grounding force for this group. I think when it comes to Gregerson, you just want him to stay healthy, and he hasn't really been able to do that during his tenure in Atlanta. This is a different situation, potentially missing tomorrow. It's not a normal kind of injury, so you put it to the side, and you hope that he can get back into the team for Saturday. And look, maybe Wednesday, maybe he's available off the bench. I don't know. I'm not sure where he's going to be in that recovery. But Saturday, you hope he's back and ready to go, and he stays in the lineup, because, again, he's been good with one very notable exception. That's kind of where this is, though. But I asked Mihai about that yesterday in a way. This team's not scoring goals. And like I've said, you've got to find goals for this team to be what it can be. When you have a team that's not scoring goals, like, it puts extra stress and pressure on the back line. And that's real, and that's psychological. And Mihai said as much. Like, it makes it difficult, and it makes you at times tight. It makes you at times tentative. It makes you at times afraid of making a mistake, because one mistake might decide the game. And this season it has. Like, you look at how the year has gone, and one defensive mistake in games, which every team in the world makes defensive mistakes in every game, because you can't be perfect for 90 minutes. It's impossible, not at the level that these teams are playing at. So right now, because you're not scoring goals, one defensive mistake, that costs you the game. And like the Columbus game, for example, like, the whole game is different. It was pretty even up to that point. And everybody said that. Columbus, Atlanta, everybody. First half, pretty even. Second half, they get the goal because Gregerson gets beat to the spot by Abu Ali, and then it's a different game. Chicago, it's 6 seconds. 6 seconds, decide the game out of 90 minutes. So, like, you got to find goals. Like, I think I keep bringing it back to that. And I don't know if I'm in a fever dream or not, but I feel like a lot of the conversation is, defense, Ojos, and I have no idea. Barakal before that, like, it's all bad defensively. And I'm like, it can be better, but you've got to score goals. And you're not creating enough chances. You're not getting enough runners into the 18. You weren't getting into the 18 in the Columbus game. You got into the 18 better in Chicago, but you created one big chance. Chicago had less of the ball, less passes, still got to the attacking third, and created 4 big chances. And that's the issue. Like, if you're scoring more goals, you can overcome more mistakes. You're not scoring really any goals at the moment.
Yeah.
So you can't overcome mistakes. And it's a very frustrating thing because it's hard to be perfect.
So then what kind of a match are you expecting in the midweek up in Chattanooga?
What's does Chattanooga have local transit? I'm assuming they do.
They do. Hang on just a second. I'll find it, but go ahead.
I'm assuming they have buses.
They do, yes.
How many?
I will look up that number, but yes.
I'm assuming all of them will be parked at Finley Stadium in the defensive third. Maybe 87 of them, maybe 75. I don't know. They'll all be parked there because Chattanooga will want to hold on. They'll want to build momentum from defensive plays. They will want to try to hit on the break because in the run of play, they're not going to be able to control this game. They're not going to have possession. They're not going to be able to dictate the way the game goes. What they can dictate is momentum swings. I don't literally need those numbers or names. I was just kidding. It was a bit.
But there is a certain sense of irony that's attached.
It was a bit.
But now that I know.
You can save it for later.
Well, no, but there's irony attached to it. And that's the reason I say that.
Why is there irony attached to it?
Well, because we know what the transit system is here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Swap out the first letter, and you get Chattanooga's.
It's Carta?
Carta.
Okay. Well, Carta is going to be busy moving buses to Finley Stadium. Yes. I think they're going to sit back. I think they're going to try to hit on the break. I think they're going to try to, if it needs to go 120 for them, they'll take it 120. If it needs to go to penalties, they'll take it to penalties. I think it's going to be a challenge for Atlanta to break them down because they're going to put numbers behind the ball. Mm-hmm. So I go back to something that I talked about leading up to the Chicago game, and I'd say it's still a conversation. You've got to get more runners forward. You've got to get, and I think Alexei Moranchuk talked about it before the Chicago game. You know, you have a lot of people who want the ball to feet, which is fine, but whoever it's not played to their feet has to be making movement happen. Even if they don't get the ball on that movement, they have to make the movement happen because it drags defenders, it opens things up. It might open things up for the person on the ball who turns. That's fine. I mean, just think about the logistics of it. Like if you play a ball to Alexei coming inside, like he's not a winger. I don't know. You know, he's not playing as a true winger. Like wingers can play differently. Forwards can play differently, and it doesn't make them always a false nine. Central midfielders can play differently as 6s and 8s and 10s. Like different positions, people can interpret them differently. Alexei Moranchuk, when he is listed as a winger in air quotes, we know he's not, you know, what Raheem Sterling was as a winger. Like we know he's not, you know, what Kobe Jones was as a winger. Like he's not trying to run up and down the wing and put in crosses from the end line. He's coming inside. He wants to get on that left foot. He wants to get into the pocket there between the striker and hopefully the right back getting forward. He wants to get between the opposing fullback and center back. He wants to get into those spaces. I don't think he's a natural runner off the ball, but he's adapting to do it, and he's really the only one doing it, and that means he's the only one really scoring goals right now. So if you play to him in that spot, if he comes into the pocket and you play to his feet and he's on like a half turn, for example, so his body is facing the opposite touchline, you play to him. So he's got to turn to the right to go to goal. All right. He can see the striker. He can see the left side of the field. If you get movement from the striker, from the left winger, which a lot of times is Miguel Almiron, who, again, is not a traditional winger. He wants to come inside and play. All right. If they move, think about it if you're a center back playing this. You see a dangerous player on the ball who can turn to his left foot in a touch and rip a shot. If you have guys in your periphery moving, whether it's moving closer to the ball, like trying to make a run through, if it's moving away from the ball, trying to make a run to the back post. If you're that defender and you see that movement, what do? It's a lot harder for you to close the ball down because you got to think, oh, he might pass. I got to step to that side. Oh, he might hit it to the back post. I got to make sure that's covered. Let me turn. It freezes you. Mm-hmm. If there's no movement, if the ball is played to Alexei Miranchuk and then everybody else is waiting for a ball to their feet, what does the defense do? Let's just close down. Mm-hmm. Let's just clamp down and not let them do anything. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. I think if you are Miguel Almiron in this case, if you're Latte Lot, I think the fullbacks are trying to provide some of that movement. I want to see more, and I think you just have to based off the way that this team is. I think Galarza is starting to pick that up and find the space. And look, maybe it's a little bit different for him, but I think he's starting to find it. Cooper Sanchez, and he's told us before, he's been typically in a double pivot. He's been a deeper lying central midfielder playing deeper. I think he is growing more comfortable higher up the field. That's not his natural game. That's why we saw in Chicago, for example, Alzate came on for him when the team had to go forward more. That's a normal sub. Cooper's played really well, but you want him to get forward more. You need people to make runs. The one player who is getting away from type to fit the team, and he did this last year, and he did it when he got here in 2024, and he never gets the credit for it because he's a humble dude, and he doesn't always do the things that get him goals and assists, although this year it is. It's Alexei Miranchuk. Mm-hmm. Alexei Miranchuk has played any position he's been asked to play. He's done the job. He's adapted to the position. He's understood that, hey, I'm me. I got to be me in this position. But the team needs something different that I don't normally do. Well, I got to do it. Mm-hmm. He has. Look at some of the goals he scored. He's making runs into the 18 like a striker. That's not what he's typically done in his career, but he's doing it, and it's serving the team well. It's got to happen more. It's got to happen from others. So, I mean, I think Chicago showed you how important Alexei Miranchuk is to this team.
Couple of other things that I wanted to get into with you this morning. I wanted to get into what seemingly is a daily John Texter update. Yeah. And once again, for the longer version, you went into it another deep, because this is what it requires. And when I go and give the Texter updates here, it is so everyone can become informed about what's going on, because it affects not just the Atlanta United economics, but it also is a window into current economics when it comes to the sport worldwide, multi-club ownership, and what have you. And so I feel it's important every time the name comes up and every time that there's an update that we have to give the update to add context with Atlanta United and with what it means worldwide.
Yeah, this one's a little different. It's getting very complicated. Basically, if I am correct in explaining this properly, to catch you up, Eagle Football Holdings Bidco, which is the entity that owns the teams involved. They own 85% of Lyon, for example. Right. It's the holding company that I think runs the financials of the team is maybe the layman's way of putting it. So the Bidco portion of it was placed under administration by Court Gully in Britain. that was all part of getting John Textor out as chairman, Michelle Kang in as club president at Lyon. Now there is a new announcement out of Lyon in France specifically about that club situation. So still, we don't know anything about Molenbeek. Palace is out of the mix. Botafogo's complicated. We'll come back to them. But with Lyon specifically, now Michelle Kang and Aries are in position to complete a full takeover because Court Gully is basically selling off the parts of Eagle Football Holdings Bidco.
Right.
I've said this before, and I don't know if people have really talked about it enough. The element of Aries, which is an investment firm, and Michelle Kang getting involved here always felt like this end game was, I think, more than possible. I would say likely from the very beginning, because John Textor was over leveraged when he did this to get Lyon.
Yeah.
And I feel like Aries knew that. And the relationship between Aries and Michelle Kang, we've talked about it before. I don't know if it's 100% clear. Is that right? Like in terms of how they work together exactly?
Right. It is. Yeah. There's still some edges that have to be figured out.
But they're working together in this.
Yes.
I think. I mean, it's a crazy coincidence if they're not.
Yeah.
Like it feels like this is again. And John Textor would say this, and look, he doesn't really have a whole lot of leg to stand on here, but he would tell you this was the plan from the beginning, and this was a takeover, and it wasn't correct, and all that. Well, I don't know if it's correct or not, but I would agree that this was the plan from the beginning, and I think Michelle Kang was either lucky or very savvy in getting into these positions. I mean, buying the women's team, OL Leones, and now then getting in as club president at Lyon because Textor made everybody in France angry, and in keeping them from getting relegated, which they probably should have been according to financial irregularities. English clubs are now looking at that and saying, see, we shouldn't be relegated either. But anyway, it's complicated. But now it's looking like Aries, who is the creditor that John Textor owes, I believe, still over $250 million to, and that's probably on the conservative side.
Right.
They're going to take over Lyon from Eagle Football Holdings Bidco, which John Textor is the owner of, but not in control of anymore.
Right.
Again, which is complicated. But this is what happens when you owe a whole bunch of people money. So the Botafogo side is even more complicated than that because of, and wait a minute, hold on. I think we might have some breaking news. You want to hit a breaking news sounder for me?
Hang on just a second. I will certainly do that. Now I've got to find the thing. So I have like multiple sounders now. Here we go. I got it.
Where did that sounder come from?
That's old CBS radio.
Okay. Well, old CBS radio reports that U.S. Soccer sporting director Matt Crocker is leaving the federation for the Saudi Arabian Football Federation 2 months before the World Cup.
Yep, I had that on the list. Yes.
What?
On the list? No, on the things to talk.
No, I'm not asking what, like from you. I'm asking what is he doing? What is happening?
Pursuing another opportunity in international soccer.
It's 2 months before a World Cup that his federation's hosting.
Uh-huh.
Like, I have one word, bruh. Seriously, You're gonna leave 2 months before the World Cup that you've been building for? You're walking out the door then? Are you serious? Like, wow. First off, love to see the bag that you got to do that because it better be good.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, this is so utterly disrespectful to his current employer to do this in this way. So incredibly disrespectful. And it makes it look like he came here to get a bag and then he got a bigger bag. I don't know the guy, never met him. No idea. I know, as he said to The Athletic, he gets frustrated with things about how U.S. soccer is structured. Well, you knew that walking in the door. To walk out 2 months before the World Cup that you have been preparing for as a host nation, to walk out before the biggest World Cup for the U.S. men's national team of our lifetime. Is it going to change the team or anything? No, not really, because you're pretty much down that road. But to do this is a really bad signal for U.S. soccer. Again, it is disrespectful. You want to announce this when the tournament's over and go and get your bag? Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have a very different reaction to it. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
To do it this way, that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I would in no way be looking to hire Matt Crocker for any job that I would have if he's going to treat his current employer in such a disrespectful way.
And the bag that you were discussing
Mm-hmm.
better be a damn good bag, because he was among one of U.S. Soccer's highest paid employees.
Yeah.
$658 plus in base, $179 in bonus and incentives, and a $152,000, almost $153,000 relocation payment to move to Georgia. He got $153,000 to sit there. It's like, we need you to move to Georgia. Here's $153,000. So quick math.
Yeah. Did he even get a chance to spend all of that? Probably not.
Because literally he is making, so what, 331. So basically he was making about 900, just under $1 million, 990 basically. Base, bonus, and relocation payment. He was making $990,000 in the tax year ending March 31st of last year. They paid him more than any other non-coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're jetting with less than 60 days left in a tournament that is the biggest one that is of this era in this hemisphere. And you're jetting to go to Saudi Arabia. Less than 60 days to go in a tournament that you were part of an infrastructure that was putting this party on, and you're out the door going to Saudi Arabia.
Now, his role is different than the federation side of running the tournament. For one point of clarification,
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset at his disrespect for his current employers walking out this way, because practically, does it massively change anything for the tournament? No. Perception-wise, it looks very bad to people that paid you well to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it the right way. You can say, because he's out the door. This is not, I'm going to leave. This is, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe is he already in Riyadh before he sends the email? I have no idea. Like, you don't do that. I'm sorry. We can talk about it. It's not about 2 weeks and all that kind of stuff, but a World Cup, you see out the World Cup. Talk about Andy Robertson right now, for example, Liverpool. Like, he's going to see out the season. He didn't leave in the winter window. He's seeing out the season. He's going to move. We all know he's going to move. You do it respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
You do it respectfully. He has the opportunity to announce, I am taking a new opportunity after the World Cup. He could say, not even say who it is. We'll talk about it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a very different perception. To walk out the door now and just say, see ya.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this, and then we're going to move back to John Texter and Leon for a second before I say anything else. But
sure. Okay.
I'm going to say this. I am very sick and tired of a lot of people who come to the U.S. from other countries in soccer and talk about how they do it better and talk about how the U.S. structure is so bad and talk about how it all needs to be better and how it should be like they're used to and how it should be this and it should be that. And they come here for the paycheck and they don't actually give a damn other than the paycheck. There's too much of that. Is he part of that? I don't know. It looks like he is with the way this went. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he did a bunch of great things behind the scenes and is going to leave a whole bunch of great legacy. Well, he tarnished it perception-wise, and he tarnished his employers that paid him very well perception-wise, and it looks like he's one of those folks. And that's a real shame, because I don't frankly care what you think things should be, and how it should be and how it's wrong and this and that and all those things. I don't frankly care what you have to say if you're going to walk out in this way before a World Cup. Announce you're leaving, do it after the tournament, whatever. If you even feel like you need to say who you're leaving for before the tournament, but you're leaving after the tournament, that's fine. All fine. All fine. To walk out now and just say bye.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know you said bye. Said I'm not coming to work today.
Yeah, everybody's like looking, and his office doesn't have any of his tchotchkes, and it's like, where's Crocker's? Where's Crocker's stuff?
I mean, did he even move into his office? Who knows? Like, it's just, it's so disrespectful, and it makes you look like you came here for money and now you're going for more money somewhere else. Because frankly, if you think the sporting director role for Saudi Arabia is a better job than the sporting director role for U.S. soccer, you are sorely mistaken. What would make it better? Cash. Because you're not a better team. You're not a better structure. You want to complain about youth soccer here? Yeah, have fun. So stop. Like, just see it. Get out. Mm-hmm. Pack his stuff up. Send it. And let's be careful about who we hire. Let's be careful about who we invest in. Let's be careful in soccer in the United States to invest in people who take it seriously. There are tons of people who have come here from other countries and embraced it and cherished it and fallen in love with it and have made it their life's work. That has happened so many times over the years, going all the way back into the 70s and 80s and 90s. Hire the right people. Don't hire people who are looking for the bag. Don't hire arrogant people who walk out on employers 2 months before the World Cup. Don't hire people who don't give a damn about perception of their current employers and walk out in this way. Do not hire these kinds of people. U.S. Soccer, get that right for the next time, please. Hire people who give a damn.
Anything left on the Kang texture table?
The Botafogo side of it, it's complicated because of this corporate structure in Brazil and Brazilian law and a court injunction, and like Texter still got control at Botafogo, but not complete control because of the social club, which is part of the ownership structure. It's very complicated and it's very hard to follow. But Eagle and Texter and Aries all have different layers of control in Brazil than they do with Leon. So that's going to be something that has to get resolved. Can Eagle Football Holdings Bidco sell Botafogo, sell their portion of Botafogo? I don't know if technically they can, at least not in the current structure because of the court injunctions and things. Then you have a lawsuit filed by Botafogo against Leon, which again are sort of owned by the same people for now, but won't be for long, it appears. You have a lawsuit for roughly 745 million Brazilian reais, their dollars. I'm not sure what that translates to in US dollars. It's in the hundreds to 200s, if I'm not mistaken, I'm guessing. Saying that prize money from the 2024 Botafogo year, where they won the Libertadores, they won the Brazilian title, some of that prize money went to Lyon to keep them financially solvent. And that's been talked about for years. That was talked about before the lawsuit. That was talked about on the Brazilian side because everybody in France said that Lyon was propping up Botafogo, and that's why Lyon was almost broke. Everybody in Brazil said, actually, it's the other way around. It's Botafogo sending the money to Lyon and sending players, and they're propping Lyon up, and that's why Botafogo was in financial trouble. So I don't know. But there's a lawsuit with Botafogo and Lyon that's now going to get far more complicated because of the ownership structures and changes and what have you. There's also reports out of Brazil that Botafogo are currently late on payments to players and staff. They are currently in arrears with Atlanta United over the second installment on the Thiago Almada agreement for the transfer that wasn't paid initially. My assumption would be that there are some pretty heavy financial penalties for being in arrears. And who knows what other kind of penalties could be involved in that agreement. You don't make the agreement to get them out of the transfer ban if you're not protecting yourself, because you're going to get all your money or you're going to get things that are equal to that amount of money.
Correct.
So, like, whatever that looks like, I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to find out how all that goes. But right now, they are not in another transfer ban. But they do owe Atlanta United money, according to all reports. That second installment wasn't paid, and they're broke. And now there's reports out of Brazil that Textor is trying to find new investors or get more money out of the last loan shark that he got money from to pay the first installment. And now, like, there were reports that loan shark knew walking in, same as Aries, that he ain't going to repay. And they're going to get part of the ownership of the club, but can they get part of the ownership of the club because of Eagle Football Holdings Bidco? And yeah, you tell me. I don't know. It's the People's Court's going to be very busy on this one.
Doug Llewellyn outside the room. Conversion rate for a Brazilian real to U.S. dollar is 20%. So take whatever.
Yeah, so I was in the ballpark.
Yeah. So right now it's 20 cents on the dollar to convert from Brazilian to U.S.
So yeah, 745, 20% of that. Yeah, I was in the ballpark. It's sad that I'm knowing these conversion rates now because of all of my readings of Brazilian media and French media, and yeah. So there you go.
I was going to. I also had Open Cup on the list. I had USWNT on the list. But you got a long night. Are you gonna get in the net between now and AST?
Possibly. There's Champions League to watch this afternoon too, which could be really interesting with Barca and Atleti. And Barca's fired up because Atleti grew the grass long. Also, Barca's fired up because they got to make a big comeback at the Metropolitano. Mm-hmm. Liverpool, they're fired up because they got to make a big comeback. All kinds of different things. Any questions out there from folks? If you want to fire them off, I'll give you a couple minutes. I see people reacting to my rant. Yes. Sorry, I was fired up.
But you're square on that. I mean, that's literally the perception that is being left behind by Matt Crocker lacks in professionalism at certain levels, because, you know, the timing is horrific. And the perception that's attached to that is like, I'm jetting for this gig. The perception is, oh, well, then obviously what you were doing with the U.S. didn't mean, you know, much of nothing. And that things were, and this is perception. Like I said, people are going to look from the outside and they'll go, well, if Crocker left and he was one of the more higher paid folks, and then he's leaving this close to the World Cup, then things are obviously so wrong somewhere in there.
That's what people will say.
And so that forced him to take this job in Saudi Arabia, and he's going to take this created position or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what is going on internally. Those on the outside that don't know what's going on the inside are going to sit there and attach a Crocker exit to, oh, obviously something is wrong. And you're going to have that cloud hanging over this whole thing. To leave this close to a tournament and to lack the professionalism in a business sense to sit there and say, yes, I am leaving at X time. You know, once the tournament is over, we're going to put a bow on everything. I appreciate my time with U.S. soccer, but I've got this opportunity with Saudi Arabia or insert country here, and I can create something at my next job. I want to thank U.S. soccer for the time that we had together, but when the tournament is over, I've got this. You could have done it that way. Been nebulous about your next gig, saying, I'm going to wrap up my time with U.S. soccer. I've enjoyed it. Then when they brought me in from Southampton, I anticipated A, B, C, D, and E. It's been great to bring the sport to this level here with the greatest competition on the planet coming in less than 2 months. But once this is over, I'm heading over here. That didn't happen. Crocker's like, nope, I'm out.
It's very poorly done, and it creates a lot of questions of people are going to ask, why is he leaving for a lesser ranked team before the tournament? That you're not purely hired for the tournament. He was hired to be part of long-term change, and he doesn't even make it through a full cycle. Now you're going to go into, from the U.S. soccer side, we'll put Crocker to the side for a second. from the U.S. soccer side, now you're going to go into the post-World Cup side of things, probably needing to hire a new manager, and you're definitely going to need to hire a new sporting director. What does that process look like? Because you're straight back into Gold Cup, Nations League, like you're straight back into things in the fall. My assumption is Mauricio Pochettino is going to be managing a European club in the fall.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. Might be wrong, might not. And I don't have a problem with that, again, because he didn't leave right now.
Mm-hmm.
He has opportunities, it sounds like, when you've got jobs potentially open with not Tottenham anymore, which I think would have been the spot that he wouldn't have minded going back to. But Manchester United could be hiring. Real Madrid could be hiring. There could be others. Now, Southampton, is that correct? That they are looking for a manager after Iraola is going to leave? Bournemouth. Sorry, mixing up my clubs.
You're good.
Yes, Bournemouth. They'll be looking. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, Tom Hicks would have to. Bill Foley'd have to really shell out some money at Black Knight to bring in a Pochettino team.
They got the money though. Like that's the thing is like if they wanted to, they've got it. Do they? Is the question. I was thinking Southampton because that's where he was before.
Right.
So yeah, like. I don't think he's going to be there. So, okay, now you're going to need to get a sporting director, but you're going to need to get a coach quicker. Probably that's all complicated. That's a reality of the situation. That's all going to be complicated. But now, because of the way he is doing this, you are basically kicking dirt on your now former employer on the way out the door, which is never a good look. That very rarely serves you well. The questions are for U.S. Soccer, why would he leave now? For Matt Crocker, why would you leave now? One answer, more than likely, would be cash. And that's really the only answer that would make sense to take the Saudi job over the U.S. job today, because there's no other valid reason. There's no way you can sit here and say, and it's funny because the only people in the world who say this are involved with the Saudi league or have biases there about that league, that federation, that soccer culture being stronger than the U.S. Like people pit MLS versus the Saudi Pro League, and it's an insane conversation because they're not anywhere close to the same level. Like it's not even close. Yeah, there are some big money players in Saudi Arabia, no question. But the overall level of quality, it's not even close. The standard of U.S. players versus Saudi players, not even close. The standard of investment from U.S. soccer clubs, and that's not just pro clubs, the investment in developing players here versus there, not even close. And with all the Saudi money, can you tell me a Saudi player playing in a major club? No, you can't, because it doesn't happen. Because for all of their work in propping up the Saudi Pro League, it hasn't turned into what they wanted it to. And this takes you into a whole nother conversation. I'm gonna talk about the investment portion of it, because I know sports washing will come up, and yes, that's probably part of this. But you're also, if you are investing this money in Saudi soccer, and you're going out and you're paying whatever it takes to get Matt Crocker to leave the U.S. soccer and go there, you're paying whatever it takes to get Cristiano Ronaldo to come play in your league, along with a whole bunch of others. There's an end game you're looking for. Like, it is not purely just spending the money to change perception. You're trying to make the Saudi program as a national team, which Cristiano Ronaldo can't play for. You're trying to make the program better. Have you? I mean, they kind of are what they've always been in terms of where they stand. They are sometimes competitive, sometimes a World Cup qualifier, not really in competition to be the best team in the continent. They're always in that second group. They kind of are what they are. You haven't seen any great players emerge. You haven't seen any great homegrown players, stories, any of that. Like it kind of just is what it is. So if you're a sporting director and your job is the big picture, which that is the big picture, what are you going to do? What are you actually going to do except cash checks? So if that's what you want, cool, that's fine. But what that tells me, as I've said about managers who have made this kind of move, you're unserious. all the things you talk about. Well, I'm really frustrated with how slow things move, and I'm really frustrated with the U.S. youth soccer infrastructure, and I'm really frustrated with how I can't get my way, and blah, 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 blah. All that tells me is that was all a bunch of hooey. I'm using different words, so I try not to get in trouble.
Wow. Just run the E rating. That's all we.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. I can be professional. I think I said damn a few times. That's fine. It just tells me that you're unserious. So I don't take your opinion seriously. I don't take your feedback seriously. I don't take your criticisms seriously. Don't take any of that seriously. You're unserious. You wanted a check. You got it. Cool. Have fun. Bye. Now let's get somebody serious in here who can do this job and do it for preferably more than one cycle, because you'd like to have your sporting director in place over a longer period of time, because their job is the big picture, to see the effects of what they're doing. So Matt Crocker, unserious. Matt Crocker, disrespectful. Matt Crocker leaving in this way, to me, makes him unhireable by anyone serious in the world of football for good. So adios. Enjoy it. See ya. And you get through this World Cup, and now it's going to be a lot of conversations down in Trilith now between Cindy Parlow-Cone and JT Batson and the rest of the leadership of U.S. Soccer about big picture what you do next, because now that office is open, and short picture, what happens after the World Cup on the coaching side of the senior men's national team. So those are, and they're two different conversations that are related, but I think you're going to have to treat them differently because of timing. So that's just what it is. You put the short-term conversation off because you can't deal with it right now. I just like the perception of Matt Crocker leaving and the way that he's doing it is wrong. It's wrong for U.S. Soccer to be publicly talking to people about what happens next, publicly putting pressure on Pochettino to commit or not commit. Like, he's got a World Cup. You do the World Cup. Day after it's over, you start having these conversations publicly. Am I naive to think that there aren't conversations happening privately? No, I'm not stupid. I know that there are things happening because there have to be things happening. You need to have ideas of, if Pochettino is managing a club starting in August, who's going to run your Nations League prep in September? Like, you need to know who that's going to be. You need an answer to that. So you need to know who would be interested. And a lot of off the record, it's not open, but if it was, and then a lot of, and you do that. But you don't do any of it publicly. So you got to deal with all that right now. And then now you got to create a list of who you want as a sporting director. I would like to see someone who understands what soccer in this country is. That doesn't mean necessarily somebody who was born in this country. I do not care. That's what's beautiful about the United States, is you can become part of this family, especially in the soccer world. So the thing is, though, I don't think Matt Crocker really gave a damn about being part of that family with the way he's leaving here. He often was dismissive of that family. And fine, see ya. Now you need to get somebody in who understands what U.S. soccer is, because it's unique. It's unique. This country's unique. The game in this country is unique. It's not structured like it is in England. It's not structured like it is in Brazil. Which Brazil's not structured like it is in England either, by the way. So I think you need somebody who understands that in the sporting director role more than anything, and can create pathways, create processes, and create a better long-term picture for the game where it relates to the national teams for soccer in this country. And that's going to be the remit of that job. That's what it is. So go hire somebody who understands that. And that could be somebody who's worked here. That could be somebody who's worked in MLS. That could be somebody that's worked in USL. That could be somebody who came here and now understands it. That could be somebody who's come up from the grassroots side. Like, that could be a lot of different people. But get somebody who's committed, get somebody who's here for the long haul, and get somebody who's not going to be enticed by the bag in the way that Matt Crocker was, because he never really wanted to be here, it seems like.
Yeah. What time's AST tonight?
11 p.m. late night Soccer Pirate Radio on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. If you are not a sicko like me, you can check it out on Off the Woodwork on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. That'll be posted shortly after 1 a.m. And then Morning Espresso will drop tomorrow, probably not on the early side.
No.
But that'll happen tomorrow morning. And then we'll be getting up I-75 to get to Finley Stadium and Chattanooga. We'll have the broadcast pregame 6:30 kickoff. I think it's 7:33, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll have that on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app, and full pregame, full postgame. We will be there.
We will all be there. I anticipate that there's probably going to be a block in the show this evening having to do with Crocker, Matt.
Yeah, and I got some time to do some research on it too. So he might not want to listen.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah, this is going to be a packed AST tonight between Champions League, because we've got two massive games at 3 o'clock, between CONCACAF with one of the games going on during the show.
Actually, no, both, because one's ending and the other's beginning.
Yeah, so we'll have that. We'll have Atlanta United and Chattanooga. I mean, that's 3 segments there. We'll have Matt Crocker. That's a segment. We'll have John Texter and all that possibly as a segment. Maybe it just gets bumped into the 3-4-3. Yeah,
Crocker and Texter in the 3-4-3.
Well, Crocker, I think, is going to get his own segment, because if I just ripped off about 30 minutes off the cuff when this comes out, you give me time to actually like prep a 15-minute segment, and yeah, this could get interesting tonight.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to it. Like I said, I did not anticipate having you this long. Did not.
Ish happens.
Oh, I know. And like I said, I still have like open cup juice boxes and other ish to get into before we get out of here, and all the things. So go save your voice, and we will be listening tonight, especially for the Matt Crocker-isms. That segment alone should be absolutely EGOT worthy by the time it's done.
Yeah, I might save that one for after midnight.
There you go. We'll see you soon, my friend.
Adios.
There he goes. Jason's mad. You should be. Matt Crocker exits stage right. Perception horrendous. Dude's out the door. Yeah, that's I cannot wait to hear the evidence that Jason pieces together. And I mean, obviously if it was either me or Jason in that situation and we were going to wrap up now and get ready for whenever, the Crocker segment with Jason tonight on AST, if you're not going to listen to, anything else on that show, the Crocker segment alone will be worth your listen. Then the Texter segment, and then CONCACAF, and then Champions League, and then Atlanta United. So yeah, good. 2 hours. Be plenty to talk about. I'm going to save Emma Hayes for as part of tomorrow, so we will save that for then. Juice boxes before we get out of here. The Chattanooga match, Abby, will be on. It'll be on Parabros. It'll be on Paramount Plus at the very least. Rundown on who's doing what where. So let me give you the rundown for the matches as of right now. Tonight, Revs in Rhode Island is on Paramount Plus at 7. Lou City in Austin, 7 o'clock, Paramount Plus, CBS Sports Network. Detroit City, Chicago Fire, Paramount Plus, and Golasso. 7:30, Westchester, NYC is on Paramount Plus. 8 o'clock, Switchbacks and Sporting Kansas City, Paramount Plus. Rapids, Union Omaha, 9:30, Paramount and CBS Sports Network. Sacramento Republic, Minnesota United, 10 o'clock tonight, Paramount Plus and Golasso. Tomorrow, FC Naples and the Purple Team kicks off at 7. That's on Paramount Plus, CBS Sports Network. Then on Golasso, they're going to do an Open Cup Golasso show. That should be all hands on deck. Chattanooga FC, Atlanta United right now is on Paramount Plus. I would also keep an eye out on the YouTube channel for U.S. Soccer, because they've rolled over there so far in the early rounds. So keep an eye out for that. Paramount Plus also has Richmond and Crew, Red Bulls in Pittsburgh, Charlotte FC and Independence, and DC and One Knox. All those, you have 5 starting at 7:30 tomorrow night. They're all on Paramount Plus. Naples and the Purple Teams at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, Paramount Plus, CBS Sports Network. Dynamo and El Paso, who's the only unbeaten team in USL Championship right now, by the way. That is on Paramount Plus at 8. San Jose and Phoenix is at 10, Paramount Plus and Golazo Network. So Golazo Network is going to do Golazo Show tomorrow. Then they're going to do the late game of San Jose and Phoenix Rising. So that's your rundown of the 2 days. We'll give you juice boxes for CONCACAF. We'll give you the juice boxes for CONCACAF a day at a time. For Open Cup. For Open Cup, we'll give them to you a day at a time to see if any other juice boxes evolve for tomorrow. So tonight, the juice boxes really shifted. So we got into the matchup with Lou City and Austin at the right time on the Discord for Picks of the Week, because it started out at 145 for Lou City and Austin at plus 140. It flipped. Lou City right now favored at home. And I said a draw. Lou City's a plus 110. That flipped completely overnight. Austin's a plus 195. Draws a plus 250. Revs plus 114. Hosting Rhode Island at a plus 188. 90-minute draws a plus 275. Detroit City at Keyworth plus 309. Going up against Chicago Fire, minus 149, draws a plus 290. Westchester, big underdog, plus 450, hosting NYC, who's a minus 200, draws a plus 333. Colorado Springs, favored against Sporting Kansas City. That has flipped. Switchbacks are a plus 140. Sporting is a plus 150, draws a plus 240. Rapids, big favorite tonight, minus 294 against the Cup set specialists, the Murder Owls of Union Omaha, to plus 600, draws a plus 375. 10 o'clock Sacramento, big underdog. Keep an eye on that one. Sacramento plus 229 at home at Hard Health, draws a plus 240. Minnesota United is a minus 105. So that's your rundown for Open Cup tonight. That's Open Cup tonight. So, and Carlos Quiroz has now taken over the Ghanaian national team. So that has picked up also. Got into the Michelle Kang stuff. Mentioned Carlos Quiroz. I'm saving the Emma Hayes sound because it's more longer-term stuff. I'm saving it, and we'll run it tomorrow because it still applies. Like I said, it was a conversation about making sure that you schedule tough opponents, that your time playing in Seattle, why she did it, and also on the keeper battle and why you wanted to have one of those. So I'm holding that sound until tomorrow. Like I said, Wessam Abu Ali out for the foreseeable future. It was meniscus and medial collateral ligament damage, and so we'll keep an eye on that for Columbus Crew fans. Now, also, once again, before we get out of here, a couple of things, and it is let's see. Adam Crafton is reporting current New Jersey transit plans for a return train from New York Penn Station to MetLife. Tickets priced at over $100. Usual price is $12.90, making it more a 7-fold increase for World Cup fans. CONCACAF and Netflix are announcing a broadcast agreement for Gold Cup and Nations League finals in Mexico for the next 4 years. Exclusive rights in Mexico for the next 2 editions of Nations League finals and Gold Cup. So that came out this morning from CONCACAF. Sponsorship revenue for UEFA's club competitions, according to Matt Hughes at The Guardian. Sponsorship income is due to rise by more than 40%. Champions League clubs are going to benefit from this growth. UEFA poised to bring in more than €1 billion, £870 million a year in commercial revenues for club competitions from next year, with 2 more global sponsorship deals close to being agreed. UC3, the commercial joint venture owned by UEFA and the clubs, finalizing agreements with an official payments provider and technology partner, which would complete their roster of premium global partners and see sponsorship income rise by more than 40%. 6-year deals with AB InBev as UEFA's official beer partner, and Heineken, and Pepsi as soft drink providers from 27 to 33 have already been agreed. Nike last week entered exclusive negotiations to replace Adidas as the match ball provider. Forecast increase in commercial revenue exceeds significant growth UEFA has already achieved from selling the first block of TV rights for the 27 to 31 cycle, and would take the governing body's annual earnings over 6 billion euro, significant increase on the current 4.4. So 1.6 over 6 is what? So 1.6 divided 6 into 1.6 is what? 200 and let's see. So 6 into 1.6, 2, 10, 4, 2 and 2/3. So yeah, 200 and that. So it's 223%, I think, or no, it's 70. The other side, 70. Where am I going with my math? Anyway, it's 1.6 billion increase on 6. So it is a 1.6 over 6 is 0.8 over 3. And so 0.8 over 3, if you divide by 3, so it's like a 30%, it's like 30% increase. UEFA currently allocating 74% of its prize fund and 56% of the club competition revenue to Champions League clubs, 17% to Europa, 9% to Conference League. Commercial growth will see the biggest clubs cashing in. Broadcast rights in the big 5 European markets sold last year, 20% increase in UK, 30% increase in Germany. UEFA projecting TV rights valuations will exceed 5 billion euro a year. Growth in sponsor deals will take their annual commercial earnings to over $6 billion. So UEFA is not hurting for money, and they will not be. So that is Open Cup for you. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else is on the board. We got CONCACAF. Oh, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We got to do that before we get out of here. Like I said, I did not anticipate. I was thinking Jason would be on with us for like a half hour. Then the Matt Crocker stuff happened, and we went berserk, understandably so. UEFA's dismissed Barcelona's missed red card appeal. No surprise there. And Yamal has been inspired by LeBron for his UCL comeback, and he has changed his avatar on his social media. So that is where that is. Let's see. All right, transfer talk, and then, like I said, I'll make one last dash, and if there's anything else going on, we will discuss it before the big day. Newcastle's Lewis Miley received attention ahead of the summer. PSG, Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, according to Team Talk, valued as part of their long-term plans, especially as they're facing speculation about the futures of Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, Tino Livramento, Anthony Gordon, and Nick Voltemade. Anthony Gordon, priority for Bayern Munich. Deal could be worth 60 million euro, according to Sky Germany. Already concrete talks between Bayern and the Reps. Bavarian's first choice to challenge Luis Diaz for a starting spot in Vincent Kompany's 11. Barca and Arsenal have also been linked. Magpies determined to keep him. Real Madrid, one of the clubs who can trigger a release clause of between 50 and 60 million euro for Nico Schlotterbeck's new deal at Dortmund, according to Sky Germany. Clause specifies the Germany center back can depart for a set fee, but it can only be triggered by certain clubs. Bayern, not one of them. New contract runs through 31 currently and is worth a gross total of 14 million euro a year in wages, one of Dortmund's highest earners. Bayern Munich in the race to sign Leverkusen striker Christian Kofane. Strong competition from Arsenal, according to Christian Falk. Bayern expected to look for a backup striker to Harry Kane this summer, especially with Nico Jackson set to return to Chelsea after his loan expires. And the 19-year-old, one of many names on their short list. Hoffenheim's Fisnik Aslani is also on Bayern's list of options. Club will move for a left winger and a right back before bringing in a striker. Team Talk, once again, Liverpool, Manchester United watching RB Leipzig's winger Jan Diomande, but now attention has also turned to left back David Raum. Both clubs looking for a player in his position. Red Devils actively wanting to bring in competition for Luke Shaw. Reds preparing for Andy Robertson to leave on a free. Rapid Fire Football Insider. Angelo Stiller's going to leave Stuttgart for around 60 million euro. Liverpool keeping an eye on his progress. Everton plan to keep Jack Grealish once the winger's loan for Manchester City's come to an end. That's from Team Talk. Insider again, Manchester United is going to have to pay over £40 million to sign Monaco attacking midfielder Magnus Akliush in the summer. Also, Villa planning to reignite their interest in Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Mateta. The Athletic, Real Madrid planning for a striker Gonzalo Garcia to leave the club during the summer window. Florian Plettenberg, Brighton considering various keeper options as Vart Verbruggen has interesting inquiries, according to Plettenberg, could leave the club. Nicolas Schira, Roma's going to trigger the €25 million option to permanently sign Daniel Malen from Aston Villa if the conditions for the obligation aren't met. Juve's obligation to permanently sign Lois Openda from Leipzig has been triggered, with the total package coming to €46 million, plus his wages. They'll still try to offload the striker in the summer. Fabrizio Romano. Swansea demanding £15 million from clubs looking to sign striker Zan Vipotnik amid growing interest from Brighton and other Premier League clubs. Football Insider. Florian Plettenberg, Hoffenheim center back Ozan Kabak's new contract includes a clause that would allow him to leave for €25 million in the summer of 27, aiming for a Premier League move. Also from Plettenberg, Wolfsburg, working intensively to sign Augsburg midfielder Elvis Reshbakai, with Union Berlin also interested. Nicolas Schira, AC Milan aren't satisfied with Pervis Estupinan's performances, happy to let the left back leave in the summer. Now, we'll take the tour of the papers and see if there's anything that has been left on the table that we didn't get the chance to get into this morning, one way or the other. Like I said, we got into the Andoni Iraola. That was kind of our lead this morning. That's going to be a big decision for Bournemouth coming forward. Arsenal, the club is worried on a return date for Bukayo Saka, returning from his Achilles issue. Let's see. Quick hitters there. Let's see. Iran. I want to go here really quickly. Iran has released, and this is from Agence France Presse. Iran has released the assets of their women's football team captain in the Australia asylum storyline. Zahra Ganbari had been on lists of traitors, in quotation marks, whose assets were frozen. The latest move has been taken, quote, following her change in behavior. Iran's judiciary said yesterday authorities had released the assets of the captain of the women's football team seized after she made and then withdrew her asylum claim last month. She was among one of 6 players and one backroom staff member sought asylum in Australia back in March after playing in the Women's Asian Cup at the start of the war against the Islamic Republic. 5 of them, including Gambari, later changed their minds, returned home, given a hero's welcome. Then the court, according to someone named Mizan, whose edit was left out, so the full name was left out of the edit. Assets of Zahra Gambari, which had been seized, were released by court decision. Added the move was taken after a declaration of innocence following her change of behavior. Announcement came 2 days after Iranian media published a list of people they called traitors, in quotation marks, whose assets had been frozen. Ganbari's name appeared on the list, although it was not immediately clear when the decision to freeze her assets had been taken. Rights groups repeatedly accused Iranian authorities of pressuring athletes who compete abroad by threatening relatives or seizing property if they defect or make statements against the Islamic Republic. In this case, campaigners accused Tehran of pressuring the women's families, including summoning their parents for interrogations by intelligence agents. Iranian authorities, however, alleged Australia sought to force the athletes to defect. So, just 2 of the Iranian women's footballers remained in Australia have been training with the Brisbane Roar of the Women's A-League. Let's see. I think that's it. That's it for that paper. Let's see. Let me go to this paper. And let's see. Florian Wirtz. We mentioned Kieran McKenna as one of the possible names to chase after at Bournemouth. And we mentioned John Terry. Okay, so I think we're good there. Really quickly, let me go to the last paper and the last place that I can pick up information here. So we mentioned those. I think we're good. Okay, so once again, today, tonight, it is a bunch of everything. It is Libertadores, Sudamericana. You can get that on Fanatis, eventz.co/soccer down here. It is Champions League this afternoon. It is CONCACAF tonight. It is Open Cup tonight. So we have all the things. We'll talk about them tomorrow. Tomorrow's guest list includes UPSL, because we always have on our Wednesdays and hour number 1, we always catch you up with everything going on UPSL. So UPSL, Mike Jeffries, the head coach of the Charlotte Independents, Rob Ukrop, the executive director of Richmond Kickers. So they'll be on the show tomorrow as a part of our Open Cup coverage. Trying to track down the busiest man in show business, Dylan Butler, and we're also efforting our friend Gabe Schrei to talk about everything Chattanooga FC. Jason may get to him first, but we will find out what it looks like. So tomorrow, at the very least, Richmond Kickers, Charlotte Independents, UPSL, Open Cup, Champions League, CONCACAF. Again tomorrow, all the things. We'll have it here, and keep an eye out on your favorite clubs. Keep an eye out on your favorite stuff, because there's a lot to talk about. And there are some days where literally 2 hours ain't enough. One enough today ain't going to be enough tomorrow. But that's why we're here every single day. Let me say hi to everybody before we get out of here. Saw Abby. Castor Math Curse, no doubt. Morning, Lokeville. Abby doesn't want to schlep to Chattanooga. I don't blame you. Morning, Abby. Morning, David. Morning, Derek. Good to see you. Morning, OG. And let's see. Morning. Let's see. So David and Derek, and we reported Wispy Transporthy, who wanted to send us to a Russian website. Give you credit for actually saying that. Morning, Alex. Morning, Dell. Morning, Wiley. And let's see. So let's see. There's Dell. There's Alex. Morning, Ricky. Oh, I already got tickets. Ricky, I already got tickets for the Messy C in Auburn. I already got tickets. So in the door. Morning, David, and morning to all of you. We'll be back at it again, 9:05 in the morning, and we'll break everything down. Remember, tonight, in addition to everything going on, you've got AST, 11-1, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app, and it's an opportunity to kind of live watch or watch along, but not do play-by-play for what's going on in CONCACAF and everything else. You'll have the one Open Cup match. You'll have both CONCACAF matches going on, one kind of ending, one just starting, as Jason kicks off at 11 o'clock. 11-1 tonight, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app for AST. Back here, 9:05 in the morning. Then we all head to Chattanooga, and then it's Chattanooga FC and Atlanta United. Full coverage pre and post there at Fort Finley. We'll have everything coming up for you Thursday morning. I will be in a hotel room in suburban Chattanooga. And then I got to come down here and change clothes and wear a suit for the Schuler Hensley Awards. Thursday, we're going to have SDH 1 and 2 up and running for Decision Day in high school soccer. Maddie and Jason will be at Johnson, Gainesville, and Gainesville. Drew Dickinson will be at McIntosh at Stars Mill. We'll have both of those running, and that'll be your decision day when it comes to high school soccer, 5:30 and 7:30, both locations, brought to us by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. So that's like the next 2 days. And then we're efforting Jessica Charman. We are also, and we'll have Nino and Nico, hopefully, in the Power Hour on your Thursday to talk about Champions League, Open Cup, CONCACAF, all the things, plus Atlanta United in the Open Cup against Chattanooga FC. So, yeah, we got plenty going on, a lot of places to talk, a lot of places to let everybody know what's on your mind. So, since it is the end of the show, mucho platiel, play it safe. And since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Back at it again tonight with AST with Jason at 11, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app, back here in a little less than 22 hours, 21 hours, 36 minutes and counting. Mucho platiel, play it safe. See you later.